if I could figure out how to talk. I've been like on and off crying since, you know, the news came out, and sometimes I'm like sad, other times I don't care, then I just sad again, and it's hard to put my thoughts together. And as someone who used to have One Direction content, I wanted to say something. I kind of just wanted to open up a bit. My audience is mostly not watching for One Direction. I'm very more game centered, which one of my first gaming playthroughs I tried having on this channel were, was of me and my best friend playing a One Direction dating game. I haven't planned anything. I'm kind of just gonna say stuff and hopefully make it comprehensible in post. Liam Payne was not a good person. And I didn't like him. I didn't follow him, I didn't listen to his music, I didn't keep up with him. He just wasn't, for a long time to me, he was just I didn't care. He just wasn't a great person, so I didn't really think about him. And then over time, and more so today, finding out even more things that make him even less of a good person, of more of a, like, okay, that man's shitty, rather than just saying, I don't care about him type thing. But hearing the news was still a lot for some reason. Well, when it first came out and I heard it, I didn't know why I was crying or feeling that way. Because to me it's like, okay, I haven't really thought about him in years. He would pop up every once in a while and I'll be like, yeah, I don't really care for him. I would honestly shit talk him. He wasn't a good person, and he's just not, I don't know and so crying almost makes me feel really bad, because, you know, someone who has put other people in terrible situations, has not been a good person, whose, I believe, ex-fiance has showed a lot for him being abusive and terrible, and like, as someone who has, you know, dealt with an abusive relationship before, I would be cheering for, like, like, the death of that person. I don't really wish death upon people. People can be shitty, but I don't want them to die necessarily. But at the same time, it's like, if it was my abuser, how would I feel? Part of me feels like I would definitely be happy, but at the same time, feel strange about it. So in a way, I'm almost like hoping as victims don't feel guilty also, because I know a lot of people can feel guilty for stuff like that. I don't even know where I'm going. you know, he was still a person, and so, you know, rest in peace. And he was a father, so I really hope his son will do okay. I believe his son's like 7, which is insane. I can't believe. Like, I remember the news of him having a kid like yesterday, and it's so weird thinking about it. But, and a lot of today was just comprehending, like, why is it that I want to cry? Why is this so surreal for me? And I think I've kind of come to understand, in a way, what that is. It's like, I'm not mourning the Liam Payne he became or who he is. I'm mourning Liam Payne from One Direction. I'm mourning those years in my life that were pivotal for me. And I feel like if it wasn't for this time in my life, I wouldn't be who I am today. No matter how stupid or parasocial it may sound, that was still a big moment in my life. I do not know these people personally. I never have, and I never will. And that's fine. I remember me and my friends were at the One Direction table during lunch at middle school because we were those people. We loved One Direction. Even if some of the people that sat with us didn't care about One Direction, the most, I guess the loudest ones were just the One Direction lovers. And I was one of them. I had One Direction shirts. I had an entire wall, like floor to ceiling, wall, whole thing covered in One Direction posters. And so, like, for years I saw that face every single day because it was every single thing from magazines, those posters you just get from magazines just taped up everywhere. I had a shrine of my favorite one. It was Louis. I had a little shrine of posters for him on the side, but my entire wall was just One Direction. And I even, when I lay down, I was on a top bunk, and above me I had a One Direction poster above me so that I could look at that to sleep. I still have it. I have perfume, the One Direction perfume. I have one open and I used it maybe once or twice, and the other one is still wrapped. It was such a time in my life that I don't see as bad. I think back on it and I'm like, oh, the good old days, you know? Because right after that was when I entered my abusive relationship, and a lot of things went downhill. And, you know, so I think of before who I became after that moment, and it's One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer. Though 5 Seconds of Summer was more in high school, because One Direction was like through my middle school years and part of freshman, sophomore, but it was most definitely like 6th, 7th, 8th. And then freshman year, but then 8th and up started kind of moving into 5 Seconds of Summer. I am mourning this time in my life that was just something that I remember fondly. And like, I remember how I felt, and when it happened and everything. I believe it was May 25th. Was it March 25th? It was one of the M's when Zayn left, and it was kind of like that same thing of tears and just like, oh, One Direction will never be the same. but I remember it not being that intense for me. Sure, it was heartbreaking, but you know, everything was still around. Now with this, it's way different, and it's so many years after. I haven't thought about One Direction in so long. I don't really reach for their music anymore because I grew up, and you know, that music just isn't what I listen to anymore. But like, when I hear it, it's just, this is it, like, raise it up, let's go. And having one of the members die is so weird. I remember there used to be like imagines and stuff, and one of the things is it would talk about, like, you know, you have to think about that one day, maybe in your 50s or 40s, you'll be in your car and hearing on the radio of like the death of a One Direction member, and you'd have to pull over from like just the shock. And thinking about it when I was 13, I was like, yeah, I'd probably pull over and I'd have to cry, probably, no matter how old I am, because like, this is the point in my life that it's just really big, and I wasn't expecting that to happen 10 years after I thought about it. He will never be forgotten. And that could be for many things. He can never be forgotten from the terrible things that he's done. But for me, saying he will never be forgotten, I think of those years. And I don't think I'm mourning who he became. I don't feel like I'm mourning that person that was just shitty. I'm mourning that time in my life, and the people I've met, and the things I've done and discovered, although might have been stupid, or I don't care, but it was still something. And I feel like if it wasn't for One Direction, a lot of who I am today wouldn't be the way I am. There's a lot I feel like if it wasn't for that phase, that deranged One Direction fangirl that I once was, so much would be different. Because they just introduced me to so much, to people, and I sound cringy and stupid, and I know I do, and every time I talk about it or write it down or think about it, I'm like, wow. Peak parasocial, am I right, fellas? There's always something that you grew up with that will mean a lot to you, and to me, weirdly enough, One Direction is one of those things. I have like tattoos of different things that are important to me. I have Lord of the Rings that I grew up with, The Sims, Castle Crashers, Portal, 5 Seconds of Summer, and think of, when it comes to at least those games are there forever. And with music, the music will be there forever, but then I have to remember that the people who made those music won't always be there forever. And I just miss those days, and I miss those memories, and I miss. I mourn the Liam Payne from One Direction. I mourn the Liam Payne who was in this group of friends who made music that I loved, that introduced me to so many new things, that makes me think of that time in my life positively. It makes me think of that time in my life good, and he was one of the people that was a part of it. And so it makes me cry because that was a good moment. And now I feel like a piece of it is gone. And it shouldn't feel that way, and I feel like that's stupid. Especially since I don't even like him. I just think of the good old days, and those are my good old days. It affects me a lot more than I feel like it should. And it might be stupid. It could be stupid to whoever's watching this. It could be stupid to anyone. But I can't say I mourn Liam Payne of today or of yesterday. This moment, I am mourning the Liam Payne from my middle school days, the Liam Payne from One Direction, the Liam Payne from Our Moment. Wow, I'm so quirky, Our Moment. I am mourning that time in my life, and thinking of this, of how this is so hard to me now, makes me worry about the future, because I'm like, how am I gonna feel when it's my favorite member, or the members I still wholeheartedly support, or it being like 5 seconds of summer. If this is me and my emotions for someone that I don't like who he became after his peak years, then how will it be for the people that I do like from those peak years and today? I don't know. I'm rambling, and nothing I'm saying is probably making sense. And I don't know if anyone will relate to this. I doubt anyone will really watch this. If anything, I'll just lose more subscribers as usual. But I want to somehow open up about it. And I have this, and so why not? It's been hard. And, you know, maybe it's stupid to you, it's a little stupid to me. And I would just want to let it out that pivotal years in my life just feel like they've just changed. But I also just mourn that time in my life, that specific era, that person who I was, that will always still be in me, because despite it all, I am still me from them. I am still me from before the trauma. That is me, and obviously I've changed a lot for the better. I've become stronger, but there are these bits and pieces from who I used to be before all of that I've kept with me, that I've loved, that mean a lot to me, and one of those pivotal moments just happens to be those years. And he just happened to be a face that I saw every morning, every day for years in my life. He was a household name. He was someone that was just present in my life for those years I keep dearly to me, that mean so much to me. I mourn those years, and I mourn that person. I mourn for that person. It's more of me crying for that little girl I used to be, crying for that time in my life, crying for these pivotal moments, these memories. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. I guess that's all I know how to say. Or what to say. It is still the day of. I could change over the course of days of how I feel. I could be embarrassed of this later and be like, why did I ever mourn that man? Why did I ever cry? This was stupid. But as of today, as of hearing the news, I am mourning the death of Liam Payne from One Direction. Because even though I had come to terms that that man has been gone for years, but it's now permanently gone. It is a permanent... It's permanent. It's just... It's gone, and that timeline has ended. I don't know how to explain it. It's so hard to explain it, and I feel like the only way it would make sense is if someone has felt this way about something too. If someone has felt the same way with something that has been so important to them. I don't know, it's stupid, and it's probably dumb of me to even say anything or feel the need or want to post anything for it, but, I just want to say these things. Oh my god, I probably have snot everywhere. I can't even sniffle. I feel like I'm a broken record right now trying to explain everything and get my point across, but I don't know if it's just the jumble in my head trying to figure out everything and explain these emotions, or if it's my mental health or my OCD making me repeat things over and over and over and over and over again obsessively until I can finally get to this exact sentence that means exactly what I want, unless I do something over and over and over and over again until it's at the perfect point that I want it to be. And it could be both. But I just... Yeah, I think the best thing I can say is I don't mourn the Liam of today, but I mourn the Liam from One Direction. Woo! Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna have chocolate milk and hot Cheetos. Thanks.